Hello, I'm Group Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and welcome to Silverstone for the BRSCC Season Finale. We've got an MX-5 just in behind us, and so we're going to have a quick look around at the paddocks before we get into some of the racing.
So as is with every track day, I'd always recommend starting with a walk through the paddocks. You get a little bit of a closer look of the cars that you're going to be watching all day. You get to meet some of the drivers, have a little chat, see some of the cool behind the scenes stuff that goes on in the pits, and you might even bump into the odd celebrity, like we did, or saw the one and only Mr. Mikey Doble from British Touring Cars. Now there were many classes of car racing on the day we were there, and there's some timestamps on screen if there's any specific categories you want to jump to.
So for this event we have access to the wing, which is an incredible facility and a great place to watch racing from. You see the cars coming through the Vale chicane, round club, spot the car that you want to follow, and then race it to the other side and watch, if you get round quick enough, watch them come round club corner and onto the start-finish straight.
So starting off with the MG Cockshoot Cup. No, really, that's its actual name. This is the smallest grid of the races that we saw on the day, but still made up of a wide range of cars from the old MGBs up to the little pocket rockets of the MG ZRs and the convertible MGF. Now the number 66 that we see here coming up on screen was my favourite of the bunch. It just sounded phenomenal. However, it did have a little tendency of locking up the inside wheel on the brakes just in front of us. These two red MGs were clearly the fastest and won by an absolute mile in both races, but the racing was still fantastic. But we move on now to what was my favourite category of the day, the modified Ford series. Like with the MGs, this had a little bit of a mix of everything, with the more modern hatchbacks of the Focus, going back to the Escorts, Mark 1, 2 and 3, Fiestas, and this little rusty Puma. But there was one car that caught my eye above all the others. Yes. A Ford Focus in tribute to Ken Block, very similar design elements, a couple of his logos, and it was just great to see out on track. The range of cars provided some fantastic racing, a few flames, and a couple of close calls as well. But what fascinated me was seeing everyone's own take on their car, their own design features, and the way they were trying to make their own cars the fastest they could be. I can highly recommend checking these out if they're at any motorsport event that you go into. Now, a category that we've seen on the TV a few times as support races for the British touring cars is the Mini Miglias. Classic old minis going door to door, knocking seven bells out of each other sometimes, and just providing some of the closest racing you'll see. Low power, but high entertainment. It went a little bit wrong for this mini drivers race, but the marshals dealt with it superbly. The racing was fantastic, however we only caught one race while we were there and would have loved to have seen more. In the spirit of close racing, we also had Mazda MX-5s there at Silverstone. These cars are just ideal for close quarters racing, small, nimble, and whether it's on iRacing or real life, they're just fantastic. We get to see drivers on the absolute limit trying to tame their machines. And, well, a few getting a little bit wrong. Well, they didn't give up, and we were looking every lap for this car, just to see the state of the front and it just about holding on. And nearly getting caught up in someone else's incident as well. Now, I will say it wasn't all just crashes and spins. There were a few, but there was some truly fantastic racing, proper close quarter stuff, door to door, and just brilliant overtakes. Like, look at these, the awareness that the drivers need. There's a little bit of rubbing going on, but no major contact, and just fantastic racing. And we watched their final race as the sun was setting up back on top of the wing, giving just a beautiful backdrop and scenery. The last category we watched is one we've seen before at Silverstone back in summer, the Nankang City Car Cup. Small Citroen C1s and the like, racing around, and there is approximately about 1 billion of them on track. Because the cars are so lightweight and underpowered, momentum is the key factor in speed with these cars. Drivers trying to stay in the slipstream and carry as much speed through the corner as possible. So when they go for a move, they really have to go for it, and sometimes they go a little bit wide. As there was with the Mazdas, there were a few moments that were a little bit of a squeaky bum time. But this grey Toyota takes that up another notch. Lap after lap, they were doing this. It looked like they were about to tip over on multiple occasions.
So with the sun now setting, all the drivers coming into the pits, that wraps up the racing action here at Silverstone today. So thank you all so much for watching. If you are new here, please do consider hitting that subscribe button to come back for more racing action like this, some of my gaming adventures and my daily adventures. So everybody have a fantastic day and keep plodding on.